The Lost Art with Andrew Cox podcast, Marine Corps League and Till Valhalla Project Ambassador. Now streaming on all major podcast platforms. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that has given a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast, that podcast giving a voice to our veterans. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we're having a veteran story. But before we get into the podcast, do you enjoy the podcast? And go to our website, that's thelostart.podbean.com. Go check us out, see what we're all about. You can help support us a couple different ways. You can become a patron with a monthly donation, or you can just go in there and buy you some cool gear. That also helps support the podcast. And for any business owners out there, I am now doing advertising on here. So if you would like to advertise on the podcast, you can reach out to me via email, thelostart@andrewcox@gmail.com. It's pretty simple. All right. Big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project, another amazing organization out there doing some great things. If you don't know anything about them, make sure you go check them out and go to their website. That's tillvalhallaproject.com. Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps veteran service organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. All right, we're back here. I got Rich, Army veteran, here with us. How you doing today, Rich?
Great, brother. How are you?
Oh, man, I can't complain. I'm excited you're here, excited to hear your story. So, yeah, it can't get any better.
That's great. I mean, I'm glad we're finally able to get this thing going. Technology and work all come together at one time today, so it's awesome.
Yeah. As it should be. We love it when it all comes together here.
Yes,
well,
sir.
let's start at the beginning for you, Rich. Like, where did you grow up? What was that like? And then kind of what drew you to military service?
Great question. I grew up in Jersey City, New Jersey, the youngest of four. We lived in what's called a railroad apartment. So there's no hallway. It's just you come in the door, you walk straight. That's like the little hallway to the bathroom kitchen area. If you go left and take another left, it's 3 bedrooms straight in a row. So there's no hallway. It's just a door between each one. My sister's room was first, and my mother and father and us 3 boys in the front room, which I mean, that's a mistake and a blessing at the same time, having 3 boys in one room. And you learn a lot of things when you have 3 boys in a room. 1, how to fight, 2, how to survive, and 3, how to get away with stuff. And that's what all 3 of us did. As I was growing up, I'd sit with my dad and we watch that little 13-inch TV we had. Black and white-ish. We didn't know it was black and white. We thought it was just the right thing. And we'd watch. I couldn't tell you what war it was. It's probably something in the Middle East, either Israel or maybe some of the later Vietnam, because it was 70, 75-ish area. And I would always tell my dad, that's what I want to do when I grow up. I want to be a soldier. It looks like a lot of fun. But I didn't know the other stuff that goes involved with it at that time because I'm a kid. And that was my plan my whole life, either be a soldier or be a fireman. I was definitely afraid of fires, but I wanted to be a fireman. I thought just being a soldier was cool because we played Army outside all the time, so it had to be awesome. So it was going to be one of those 2 things. I went to high school, and I took the classes to get out of high school, basically, not classes to get to college. I was taking all the easiest classes so I can hang out with my friends and just go work my job after school. And at the end of junior year, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go join the Army. I went there, and since I was younger, my dad would have to sign the paper saying, yeah, it's good for him to do this. And he said, no, enough of us have served. You have to go to college. You're going to be the one that goes to college.
Oh, wow.
My dad was in the Army. My grandfather was in the Army. My uncle was in the Air Force. My brother was in the Navy. So he said, the legacy is already set. You got to go to college. Well, I'm not prepared for that. So let me see what I can do senior year. So while all my friends were, messing around and doing whatever they wanted, doing like 2 classes a day and going home, I was taking freshman, sophomore, and junior classes in senior year and racking up and doing everything I could
trying to catch up.
Yeah, I had to play catch up, and I was the oldest, like the old kid in the class. I was like the special kid, and I was in there doing this stuff, and I passed the SAT somehow, and I got into Berkeley College in New York. I went there for 1 year solid. Then I transferred to St. Peter's College in Jersey City. I played
Okay.
college football for 2 seasons. I stayed there for 3 semesters, and then I
Very cool.
finally raised the right hand and joined the Army.
Okay. That very nice. Now, did you come in as officer enlisted? What how'd that work?
I came in as a PFC because the
Okay.
college, and then I made specialist pretty quick.
Right, right, right. All right. Well, tell me about that transition going into the army, preparing, and then going into boot camp. What was that like for you?
Well, my preparation for the Army was basically playing college football. And I knew how to
That
hit,
worked.
how to run downfield and hit people or get run over by somebody. I was good at that. I was big because I was playing offensive line, so I was about 205 pounds. So when I got there, drill sergeants just loved that. They're like, "Oh, look at this big fella.
Yeah,
Let's work him out and let's not let him eat." So
yeah.
I think I left basic and AIT. I was probably down to about 160 something, 170 from
Oh my
205.
gosh,
Yeah,
from
because
205.
yeah, I lost a lot, but the preparation for it was basically just, I guess would call it functional fitness today or CrossFit because we weren't
Right.
doing a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah, yeah.
cardio. We were doing a lot of lifting. We were doing a lot of hitting, but not a lot of endurance stuff.
Right.
And back then, that wasn't really a thing. It was just who can move the person in front of you the best. Now,
Hmm.
the college athlete is way more rounded than we were back then.
Right.
Getting through that stuff was more mindset than anything else to get through basic and AIT than any preparation.
Right. Now, was there anything that stood out to you going through boot camp, or any craziness that you remember?
Oh, it was. I mean, it was all crazy. Getting yelled at from sun up to sundown was awesome, and you kind of,
Yeah.
I know you've been through it too, so you kind of blank it out after maybe the first week or so. You just, oh, it's going to happen again today. Let's just see what they can do to us, and
Yeah.
we would just see who would get in trouble the most that day and who can get in trouble the least. And
Right.
you knew that no matter what you did during the day, even if you did everything perfect, you're still going to do push-ups. You're still
Yeah.
going to get smoked at the end of the day, so they can make sure you're tired and go to bed and check the block that they did everything they could to that day to make you a better human, a better soldier.
Hmm.
And the I think the biggest surprises were going through the gas chamber the first time, and
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, you go in there and they try to instill the fear in you, and then you go in there and you kind of, as a kid, you're still young, so everything's funny, and
Yeah.
watching the guy in front of you start to snot up, and then oh, that's not going to happen to me. And then you start to snot up, and you run out, and for some reason back then, every exit door to a chamber was a tree.
Oh
So
no.
you had to be the person to avoid that tree, and hopefully the person in front of you hit it. And I think that was pretty cool. And learning to actually shoot was probably one of the best parts of it.
Yeah. 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 Now, did you do much shooting before?
No, I grew up in the city, so in New
Okay.
Jersey, which is basically you can't have a gun state, still is,
Right.
and so we didn't really have to do a lot of shooting. If we did, it was like with a 22.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Very nice. So after boot camp, you go off to your MOS school. What was that?
Chemical operations specialist. So
Okay.
I loved the gas
Oh,
chamber so much I stayed with it, and
yeah.
it was still at the same place at Fort McClellan, Alabama. So we did one
Okay.
station unit training, 20 straight weeks there. It was just change of a guide on basically at the end of basic to go to AIT.
Oh,
Same drill
wow.
sergeants the whole time. So you
No
still had the
kidding.
same, yeah, you had the same stuff the whole time, just that you had different instructors in class. And
Yeah.
that was the biggest difference there.
Oh, that's wild. Now,
Yeah.
did they treat you differently, from boot camp to now AIT?
You had a little more freedoms.
Yeah.
Back then, there wasn't really a lot more you can do besides wait in line for the payphone
Uh-huh.
or sit down on your rack and read because there was no internet, there was no social media,
Oh, that's
there
right. Yeah.
was no phones. So you
Good
just did what
point.
you had
Yeah.
to do and drive forward. And so, I
Yeah.
mean, they'd let you I guess, march up to the little shop at or PX area to get
Mhm.
stuff. They were still with you. So there was no
Oh, I
real,
see.
I guess, total freedom. It was just a little more relaxed than it was the first 8 weeks.
Right, right. Now, what was that school like for you?
It was challenging because there was a lot of scientific stuff, and I
Mhm.
mean, I didn't know I was good at it, but then I kind of was catching on really quick. The hardest part was the rad and nuke stuff, doing the
Yeah.
calculations for that, and that's high level math. And so if you go in confused, you're not going to come out a gee whiz guy. You're going to come out even more confused of how it happened or how it worked. But I tried to stay level and try to just take as many notes as possible and bring that forward to the formation when I graduated.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So, now what year was it that you went in?
93, 91, 92 was basically IT. That I did reserves for about 18 months, then went active duty 93.
Oh, okay. So so after AIT, then you went back to New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what were you doing? Were you still going to college?
Yeah, I
At
tried to
the
go back to college, and it just,
Okay.
I realized that the reserves wasn't the thing for me. I had to go active. I knew I had to go active, or I just go back into the spiral of city life.
Yeah.
And I was in the gray area doing dumb stuff, dumb kid stuff. And I said,
Mhm.
active duty is the only way to get out of this. And I asked my commander to sign a release, and he reluctantly did. He didn't want to sign it because there was two of us doing it at the same time, because he
Yeah.
loses numbers that way. In reserves, everything is numbers, numbers, numbers.
Yeah.
It's data, just like now data. It was numbers back then as well. So he finally signed it, and I left in April of 93.
Okay. And now where did you go from there?
Fort Stewart, Georgia was my first duty station.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so
Very
Hinesville,
cool. But
Georgia.
now that's way different than Jersey.
Oh yes, yes, it is 100%. It was like shock and awe. I,
So
re-
what
I
was that like for you down there?
I tell people all the time, when I first got down there, I went to a store and I was checking out at I think it was a grocery store, and the girl's like, "Hi, how are you?" I was like, "Who are you to ask me?" And then I'm so used to getting cursed at and stuff in New Jersey, and no one being polite. I was like, "What is going? Thank you, sir." I was like, "What is going on? Am I in a Twilight Zone? Is this the same country?" And it took
I
me a
love
little
it.
while to get used to people being polite and awesome to you, and
Yeah.
that's where I live now. I live in the South now, so
Oh, very nice. Well, you are right though. In the South, they're very friendly.
yeah,
They're gonna talk to you, whether
yeah,
you want to or not.
yes, we'll talk at you.
Yeah, very, very true. Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Awesome. Well, what all did you end up doing there when you got stationed?
Fort Stewart, I went to the field a lot.
Hmm.
My first field problem was to go to NTC, so that's out in California by
Yeah.
29 Palms for you guys. Uh, so we did that. That was my 30-day field problem, and a little funny story there, because it was over Thanksgiving into the Christmas time period. So that
Uh,
was our time. And I hadn't told my mother anything, 'cause, it was still payphones and stuff back then, so I wasn't calling every week.
yeah.
And she didn't know where I was, so she contacted the Red Cross to try to find me, and they sent the message to my first sergeant, and he, of course, had to make sure the whole company knew that my mommy didn't know where I was, and the embarrassment of that. And then at the end of it, I received a package with a Christmas tree in it, a small
Oh,
Christmas tree.
nice.
So here I am walking onto the plane with a Christmas tree in my hand. He's like, "You keeping that?" "Yes, first sergeant, I'm keeping it." So I kept it for a long time, actually.
That's pretty awesome. Oh man. So and then now how long were you there in Georgia?
From 93 to 95. And then I
Okay.
went to Korea from 95 to 96. I was in a Kunsan Air Force Base with an Air Defense Artillery Unit as their
Okay.
chemical guy. Did a lot of good training with them. I didn't realize how much training they did with it was NBC back then,
Hmm.
and they actually were preparing for it, especially since as close as we were to North Korea and the
Right.
obvious threat from them. So it was real. It was real training. So I got a lot of good training there. I learned a lot. My learning curve was very steep there on the curve, and I learned a lot and did a lot of great things. And I just
Now,
kind of banked all the stuff I learned there. And then
yeah.
from there, I came back to the light infantry at Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
Yeah. Walk us through kind of I guess like a regular day or a regular week for you guys in NBC.
So back then, it was you go in, PT in the morning.
Hmm.
Uh, most of us showered. Some people don't. And then you go to first formation, find out what's going on for the day. Then go to your office. Usually we're pretty close to where the supply guys are,
Hmm.
and you make sure everything's working. And daily, you check a different piece of equipment daily most times to make sure they're still
Hmm.
operational. You do in processing of new soldiers, make sure they're good to go with their mask, especially their mask. And over in Korea, you give them their first ice pack, which is all their protective gear. So they
Right.
had everything they needed in order to survive the first wave, and then you issue the second pack if tensions rise. And each day was kind of the same. And and then if it was a training cycle, you do more training with the whole company or battery at the time.
Sorry, my cat tried to jump in my lap there. Yeah,
Understand?
the other cat. Uh, I have what I call my podcast partner. My cat has to come sit in my lap most of the time when I'm doing the podcast. So
I usually have my lab corgi. She lays on the pillow down here, but she's down in the
Nice.
bedroom sleeping today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Where now? Go ahead and continue with what you're saying.
That's all right. I said it was usually the same kind of cycle daily, unless we were in a training cycle. And if we're in a training
Yeah,
cycle, then it was you wear your gear and you go out and they're outside training soldiers, make sure they know how to in place the systems, how to react to the
right.
systems if they go off, how to go through the procedures to get from dirty to clean if they're in a chemical environment.
Yeah,
Uh, and that was our main job as your NBC person. That's your total focus. But of course, since units usually use you for every other thing as well, so you're
yeah.
either doing schools, training, ammo. You can do anything else besides NBC, and then be expected to do NBC on top of it as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So, and now you were doing a lot of NBC training there in Korea while you were there, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
And
then you went.
Korea was a great place to get that training in because it's actually a threat there.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Real world experience definitely is, or relevance. That's the part that is going to make you step up your game a little bit because you're like, oh, this is for real.
Right. Definitely. 100%.
Yeah. Wow. And then where did you say you went after that?
I went to Fort Campbell, Kentucky for the first time. It was
Okay.
1996. So I went to Second 327 Infantry, no slack. They call it a NFS, no F and slack. So, and I learned a lot of how to be a leader there. I was
Okay.
still a sergeant at the time, E5, and I was taken under the wing by Sergeant Doug Jones,
Hmm.
and he taught me a lot of ways of the infantry, and so did a lot of the other infantry sergeants that were in the company. They would take me in and teach me things, and just
Very cool.
I soaked it all up, and I learned how to be one of them and made sure that they learn I gained their respect by learning their ways, and
Yeah.
then I taught them our ways as well. So it was pretty awesome to have that relationship, and we still talk now. That was from the 90s, minus Sergeant Jones since we lost him a few years back.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So you were kind of just really integrated into the infantry with them, and you were learning their tactics, doing stuff with them, the whole works really.
100%. And my first day in that company, I walked in, I went in spit shine, starched up, looking beautiful, and they were in the field. I didn't know this
Yeah.
when I went there. And the first sergeant came back in for refit. He looked at me. He's like, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm your new NBC NCO." He said, "Here." He handed me a ruck with a radio in it. He said, "You're my RTO." I said, "The hell I am. I'm your NBC NCO." He said, "You got 30 minutes to get your stuff packed, going to the field." And that was it.
Oh
As soon as I
wow.
was in the field, I was at RTO.
Holy cow, man. What an introduction.
And
Welcome aboard.
my
Here's your
wife was in
stuff.
the car and she was pregnant with our daughter at the time. I said, I'll be back in 30 days, I guess."
Was it 30 days that you were out there?
It was about 30 days. We were out that time.
Wow.
Welcome to the unit.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Now, did you feel that you got integrated fairly easily with those guys or?
Oh yeah, I blended in pretty well, and
Yeah.
I listened a lot.
Hmm.
Listened before speaking and tried to understand their ways and try to
Yeah.
blend in as best as possible, not be I guess, the speed bump out there,
Hmm.
and do as much as I can to be an asset instead of a detriment to the unit. And
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
gains you a lot more respect than anything else.
Yeah. That's a good point, though. Showing up to a new place, it's always good to sit back and watch and listen and how are things operating now.
Yep.
Then you can start moving into, okay, maybe I can improve upon something or,
What can
change
I do
things
next?
later down the road. But yeah, that's a good point. So tell me a little bit more about your experience there with the infantry.
Oh, it was amazing. I learned infantry tactics. Basically, I learned all their drills. I learned leadership, and that's the best thing I learned how to lead lead men in combat, lead men in garrison, and be a great mentor to others as I was
Right.
there, and not just be a knife hand guy and yelling at people, but actually
Hmm.
understand that each person is a human and treat them that way, and they'll treat you the same way when you need them. Those are the
Yeah,
lessons you can't buy those. You can't read that in a book. It's best to
that's
learn
true.
from a person that has done it before and
Hmm.
teach you that. And that's what I think Sergeant Jones taught me that. He was a prime example of the guy who did everything for his guys
Hmm.
and not himself.
Yeah,
So he pushed us all to do better things, to go to schools, to go to the promotion boards. and I wound up getting promoted ahead of him.
No kidding. Wow.
He pushed us all to be better and not himself.
Yeah.
Made sure everyone else was good and then took care of him. And that's a lesson I learned too. Make sure that you're also taking care of you while taking care of everyone else.
Yeah, and that's tough for some people. You know,
Yep.
it's much easier to take care of other people's issues or help push them along the way, and you forget about yourself.
Exactly.
So you always got to remember that. You know, very important in my book.
Yes.
What is the
100%.
saying? They say no one cares more about your career than yourself, right?
Yeah.
Or that's the way it should be,
Right.
because nobody else is really looking out for you that way. But there are, because there's people like you out there that are looking out for people as well. But the point is, you got to take care of yourself.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's a hard lesson, especially back then. It was a hard lesson for the leader to know to
yeah,
take care of themselves, but by also pushing all the new stuff. You always call it
uh-huh.
new stuff, the new things that were coming down the pipe for Joe and Josephine to do, and make sure
Yeah,
that they were set up for success, even though you were still kind of waiting in the water.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Now you had mentioned that your wife was pregnant when you first showed up.
Yeah.
So you had your first child there.
Yep.
Uh, did you have any other children there?
She's it. She's our one and done.
One and done. Okay. All right.
She's
Nothing
our
wrong with
only
that.
brat. She's our
Um,
only brat.
I love it. All right. Well, walk me through like where you went next, kind of what was happening.
All right, so I stayed there. I made staff sergeant with the infantry.
Hmm.
Had a big ceremony in the back of the company there, and the battalion commander pinned me on. And he said it's a great day and a bad day because today I get to promote Sergeant LaMonica, and tomorrow he leaves us. I'm like, why does he get to leave? Because no one really realized I was actually chemical. They thought I was just one of them, and I was going to a chemical company to be a squad leader. And so basically, I went down the block to be a squad leader, and it was a weird change to go from being in with the infantry with just dudes to go to a chemical company with integrated co-ed unit and a totally different mission, really, and
Yeah.
support mission from a tip of the spear mission. And I
Right.
got in trouble a bunch with my mouth down there, and learned more lessons. First Sergeant Vega taught me a lot of lessons down there, how to be a better leader and how to take a breath before doing stuff. It took me a
Oh
little
yeah.
while to grasp that, and but I think I caught on right before I got orders pretty quick after I took over a squad. I got orders to go to Fort Riley, so I was only a squad leader for about, I want to say, 9 or 10 months before I had the PCS to Fort Riley.
Oh, okay. You know, it's always good whenever you get promoted to move you to a new spot.
Yep,
That way, people don't really know you as you're coming in, and you're just that rank. You know,
right,
that's what they know. That's always a helpful thing.
exactly. And then
So, what was that
you get
transition
seen
like?
the
Yeah,
transition to Fort Riley. Whew,
yeah.
that was so you Fort Campbell's light infantry, light
Mhm.
fighters all the way, and you go to Fort Riley and it's heavy mechanized. It's just
Right.
like Fort Stewart. So it's going back to my first days basically, and you got tanks and Bradleys and heavy engineers. And I get there. I was told I was going there because they needed someone in my skill set to deploy, and I had just got back from operation was it Southern Watch in Kuwait at that time.
Okay.
Well, at Fort Campbell, I was like, I just deployed. They said, well, they need you there. So, all right, whatever. So we went out there PCS. I get there and they don't have a position for me. So I'm just like this dude walking around. And I went to Division NBC and I said, hey, Mass aren't likely. I'm here. There's no positions for me. What can you do for me? So he said, just sit in that desk right there. I said, all right. I sat there. He got on the phone and he's talking to someone. He said, how do you like that desk? Because it's a desk, Sergeant. He said, well, you're going to be there for a year. I said, what? What just happened? So I wound up working at the division level for a year, doing kind of a dual hat thing. So Fort Riley, we were basically the garrison Seaburn.
Hmm.
We were also the 24th ID Seaburn or
Oh, okay.
NBC but that was a National Guard division with an active duty headquarters. So
Yeah.
we would leave Fort Riley and go to the East Coast to North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia to oversee training of those National Guard units. So it
See.
was some good traveling and good opportunities to grow and learn higher level stuff, higher level thinking at the
Yeah.
division level, and seeing how things function up there. At the close to the end of my year, I was with Sergeant Likely most of that time. Then he went to be a first sergeant,
Yeah.
and my Sergeant Curtis came down, and he sent me to a school called Battle Staff. I went to Battle Staff, and I came back and they said, you got to, when I was in battle staff, they said, if you're sent here, you usually stay in that position a year. I said, damn, I was just there a year. So I had to stay another year. And as soon as I got back, they sent me to a squad. So a
Oh
year
wow.
learning division, a year, and then they go to the school to learn how to operate in a division. Then they
Yeah.
sent me back to a squad, which was great. And I stayed with that squad, Dirty Decon Dozen, we call it, and affectionately, and because it was only 12 of us, and we were expected to do a lot of work. One
Yeah.
platoon for a whole brigade of up armored
Oh my
stuff.
God.
And we were actually deployed on 9/11. We were already over in Kuwait when 9/11 happened. So that's our bond forever. We can say we were in the desert when 9/11 occurred.
Wow. Now, what were you doing deployed at that point?
It was one of the times when basically a speed bump for Saddam at the time before it
Yeah.
happened. So we do rotations over there, and we were there and just every day doing little, just kind of like daily training, but now you're in the desert doing it.
Yeah.
Training soldiers and training our soldiers, and then training the other units to get through stuff.
Right.
And we were on the road on 9/11, and we got the call to come back. We've gone to ThreatCon Delta. I was like, what is ThreatCon Delta? I thought it was our lieutenant making up something. And we got back there, and he's like, the Twin Towers been hit. Stop lying, sir. Because he was always a jokester, and it
Yeah.
was hot, of course, in the desert. I said, stop lying. And I sent my young team leader. I said, look, go to the CNN tent and see what's really going on. He came back, said, stop yelling at him, Sergeant. It's real. I was, because I noticed from my back window in Jersey City, I can see the Twin Towers.
Oh wow. No
So
kidding.
when you said that stuff, I was it's a lie. He's just joking, he's trying to get under my skin, and he wasn't. He was telling the truth. And
Wow.
the switch went from here. You just hear basically on a 6-month hop to hang out and be in a desert until the next team comes in and takes over. So hey, now you're the most forward deployed people there are.
Yeah.
Wow. So then the ice cream truck wasn't allowed to come anymore, and you got more ammo. So it was kind of
Yeah.
wild.
Wow. Now, how did your because your family was all back in New Jersey, mom and everybody. So
Yeah.
how did that all how did they fare through that whole situation?
They fared well. They, I guess, chaos, I can say, ensued. My mom worked at the hospital at the time.
Okay.
So her hospital was one of the receiving points. So they would send anyone that was getting sent across the river would come on the either ferries or whatever kind of boats were coming across the Hudson River to New
Right.
Jersey, and they'd go to her hospital. So she was one of the ones there seeing that stuff. And
Wow.
a lot of my family was like on the road when the planes hit, so they can see it happening. And that's just something they'll never forget. I used to DJ before I went in the Army. Old DJ partner was actually on the train going to the World Trade Center, had to get out and run through the tunnel to get out when it happened.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Holy cow.
I didn't lose any friends in it though.
Yeah, man, that's really eye opening. For a nation, it was one thing, right? Of course, somebody attacked us, right?
Yeah.
But as a nation, but you got to look at the individuals that live there in the city and the surrounding cities, and what was that's a completely different thing, I think.
Yeah.
Because that's those people,
Right.
Yeah.
I had a lady on my show. She I think she lived like 3 blocks from the towers in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And she watched the whole thing unfold right from
wow.
her window. She watched it, and then she
cow.
made it through. Her building made it through, but she was able to live through it and write about everything she saw. So it was pretty awesome story.
Man, that is wild.
Yeah,
absolutely wild. Now, you obviously stayed over there for a while in Kuwait at that point, right?
Yeah, we stayed until December of 01. We were there, and they sent us back, and they sent us to NTC to train to go to the desert.
That was convenient.
So we went to the desert, did some training out there.
Yeah.
Put us on gate guard when we came back. Did some gate guard because now everyone was guarding gates.
Yeah.
Did gate guard. I moved up to brigade. I moved from the platoon up to the brigade level.
Okay.
And
at this point, you were still a staff sergeant?
Still staff sergeant at this time.
Okay.
Yeah. And, but I was senior and I had enough squad time. I didn't need to be there anymore. I moved on. Now we've seen our brothers and sisters deploy, and our brigade's not deploying. We're like, oh, we're on a bench. What's going on? It's now 2003, and Iraq is starting to build up. Everyone's talking about going to Iraq, and we're still on the bench. And they sent us to Korea to go train to go to to Iraq. And
Oh, wow.
so I've been trained in the desert twice. Now we're going to Korea. Went to Korea, did a big battle exercise there. Battle, basically a simulated exercise over
Right.
there, and we got back and they wanted to do another simulated exercise, and we're setting this up, and we had this huge tarp map that was made, and we're setting
Uh-huh.
all this up. And then they call us in and say, pack it up. We're like, oh, after we set all this up, and then they had a big brigade formation and said, boys, we're going to war. We're finally getting in. So I went on the advance party in August of 2003. Me and the advanced TAC went in. We flew from Kansas straight into, we was landing in like Morone, Spain for a refuel that wound up being 36 hours because the Air Force has to take naps and stuff. And then
Right.
into Baghdad. And we were the first ones in there from our brigade. And then
Oh,
me
wow.
and three of them were the last ones out in September of '04.
No kidding. Wow. And that was a hot time over there too.
Oh yeah. I see I think you have the blue diamond behind you back
Oh,
there.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we fell under the blue diamond starting in January of '04, General Mattis.
Yeah.
And it was like a very kinetic time in 2004 over there. And
Yeah, it was.
I learned
You know,
a lot of Marine tactics, which I didn't understand at the time. And
uh-huh.
it's a lot different the way we do things. They throw everything at something where we kind of try to think things through. And it was a different mindset,
Yeah,
same
yeah.
end goal, but different mindset. And
Yeah, I was over there the same time. I was on Blue Diamond.
right across where I was on
Yeah.
Junction City, right across from you.
Yeah, 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 yeah. We were there at the same time.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
we were getting all the same surprises with well, they were heading hot and heavy with the artillery stuff, man. They
You guys
were
had the first V bid
mortars and
actually hit you guys there on Blue Diamond. The truck of mattresses came on there with the V bid.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's been crazy. There's a yeah, the Wild West. That's what they called it.
Yeah, it was a little nuts over there. I was fighting with the magnificent bastards of 2-4. That was a
Oh,
lot of my
nice.
times with
Yeah,
them there.
very cool.
Had a lot of fun and learned a lot from them fellers.
Yeah, yeah. Now you guys, because I know on Blue Diamond there was more than one time that we got hit with some type of chemical attack, right, from a mortar or something of that nature. Now I think every time it was like CS gas, so it wasn't anything, detriment. But did you see a lot of that?
Yeah, it was what they were doing. The Fedayeen, they were spraying malathion into the
Hmm.
rounds, so bug spray,
Yeah.
uh, bug repellent, and trying to make it into like a nerve agent. And it was
Mm,
just killing. A lot of the time, it's just killing the birds or any little wildlife that was around. And we
yeah.
noticed it on our side, and I think we got the call from your side, from
Hmm.
the division side, basically the Blue Diamond side, say, hey, we're getting this over here. You're seeing that, and we were seeing the birds just
Yeah.
die as soon as the things would hit. I was like, wow, this is kind of strange. And
Yeah.
use malathion most of the time.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you pretty ingenious people,
They
to come
adapt
up
a
with
lot
some of
quicker
the
than
stuff.
people give them credit for.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Pretty smart when they would shoot something and then they would move real quick. So as soon as you return fire, you're hitting nothing.
Yeah,
There's nothing there.
they were laying at that time. They were using basically PVC pipes and
Hmm.
laying them as their rails, setting a kitchen timer and leaving. And then the
Yeah,
rockets would take off and we'd fire at that kitchen timer. We did a direct hit on the kitchen timer, but that's about it.
yeah, yeah. I think one time, one of the squads from Blue Diamond went out and actually caught somebody out there, like either setting one up or something like that. Brought them back, but that was the only time we ever saw him. Like we never
Wow.
saw him other than that. It was crazy.
Yeah, they were a little, I guess, quick guys, quick fellers.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man. All right. Well, do you have any interesting stories from your time over there that you want to share? Or
I think the Battle of April 6th, I think it was April 6th, 2004, is probably come to Jesus moment for all of us as
yeah.
Joker 2-4 was ambushed out in Ramadi.
Hmm.
And we were at the comm cell, I guess, whatever, the comm sync out there with the locals. When it was going on, we drove back to Bob Junction City,
Hmm.
rearmed, refit, and then went right back out to try to help them. And for some reason, the brigade TAC was the first reinforcements to get out there. And it makes no sense whatsoever. And we got
Yeah.
out there, and we're going down the streets by the soccer stadium and Sfedin, the Saddam Mosque, and
Hmm.
running down the streets. And I ran into I forget what squad it was. It was from Joker, and PFC Halal was in the middle of the road, and he was already taken from us at that point. But
Yeah.
we didn't get to him because of sniper fire. And
Mhm.
after a while, I just took 2 Marines and we ran out there and grabbed them. And
Wow.
under fire, everyone a lot of fire at that time to keep us covered and get him out.
Mhm.
Not realizing how big that dude was and all his gear. I slipped, fell. They slipped, fell. We grabbed him, got him out of there, and got him all the way back to our brigade surgeon who was in the Humvee. So they like,
Oh, wow.
do what you can do for this because it was a brigade attack. We just took everyone. And
Yeah.
took him out there, and Doc Radmer, he did his best, but he was already gone. He could just
Mhm.
pronounce him basically at that point. And we just grabbed his
Right.
ammo and ran back into the fight for the next 8 hours of fighting that day.
Yeah.
It was a
That
wild
was
day. Learned a
a
lot.
long day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy cow. And now, so you were out there for 8 hours. Now the battle lasted longer than that, though, didn't it?
It went into the night, and then that was Tuesday or Wednesday, and then we went
Yeah.
back out Friday, Saturday, Sunday. For I forget what the name of that operation was, but that was Long Route Apple around
Yeah.
right along the river.
Yeah. Wow. Man, yeah, that was some wild times for sure back there.
Definitely.
And when they say the Wild West, it was literally like the Wild West. I mean, it
That's
was,
before like American Sniper. It was based in Ramadi. A
yeah.
lot of these other movies have snippets of Ramadi. Jocko's book talks about Ramadi.
Mhm.
Everyone talks about Ramadi, but it's all after we were there. So it
Yeah.
got 10 times worse after we left. But when we were there, it wasn't really on the news, but we were still in the same fight.
Yeah. Absolutely. Holy cow. Now, how long were you there total?
I was there for 13 months, so August of
Oh,
03
wow.
to September of 04.
Holy cow. I was not there that long. We do much shorter
Yeah,
rotations.
especially back then you did. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I was there. I think it was like 7.5 months total is what I was there
I think
for.
you guys got there. Some guys got there December and then January.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
82nd. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, now what happened after that deployment?
Came back to Fort Riley, beautiful Fort
Okay.
Riley. I got promoted to Sergeant First Class. Then PCS to Anniston, Alabama, with the Anniston chemical activity, where we were destroying our nation's stockpile of chemical weapons. I did that from
Whoa.
05 to 08.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It was pretty wild. It's not a lot of guys in my position, in my skill set, got that opportunity. So it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Wow. And when you say destroying them, I mean you're like taking them apart type of thing, not
Yep.
blowing them up, right?
And taking apart and incinerating them and burning all the
Yeah.
chemicals off and burning any residue off.
Yeah.
We had plants all
Holy
across the
cow.
country doing this at the same time as part of the treaty signed with OPCW, and Bill Clinton's
Right.
era was signed, and everyone was behind the power curve and getting it done in the deadline time.
Yeah.
It finally came to fruition. We were there. I was there. We got rid of probably over 70% of what we had by the time I left there. That
No
plant's
kidding.
completely shut down and closed and gone now. There's only two plants now that are still operational, and that's in Utah and Bluegrass, Kentucky. And I think they're both done with rounds. They're just doing the cleanup now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is wild, man. What do you like? What were some highlights for you doing all that?
It was like going from being in combat, being a platoon sergeant in combat, and going there.
Yeah.
It's like running into a brick wall. It was just me and my colonel, and then 300 civilians.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I was the senior enlisted advisor, kind of like a first sergeant, but as a sergeant first class. And then I had a lieutenant colonel, and we oversaw the safety, security, and surety of the mission to make sure that when moving rounds, everything was safe. When closing the canister, closing the bunkers was safe, opening was safe. Everyone was doing the right things at all times. The civilians did 99.9% of the work. We just did the oversight and just learning another higher level thing, a strategic level, basically, of how to manage people and how to work with a lot of people. And see that family in Anniston was amazing. I'm still in touch with all of them, as many of them as possible, I should say. And they were just great humans. And about halfway through my first year there, Talladega comes to town. It's right down the road. We can't work when Talladega's there because Talladega becomes another bigger city. You can't move chemical munitions and say cause another issue. So we shut down. So a lot of our workers would go there and become civilian workers out there, security or emergency
Oh, no
response on
kidding.
this track. And they said, "Have you ever been to races?" I had never been to a race. I said, "You want to come work it?" Sure. So I was just doing security in pit row when they filmed Talladega Nights. So,
Get out of town. Are you
yeah,
serious?
yeah.
Wow.
It was a great
Man,
experience.
were you in the movie?
I was cut off. I didn't make the cut. I was there when they
Okay.
did the national anthem. I was standing right behind the Perrier pit when they did that, but I did not make the cut.
Oh my God, that is so cool.
Yeah.
Man. Well, I mean, that's an experience that you don't get every day.
No,
Uh,
not at
and
all.
what a great movie. Uh,
Yes.
I love that movie. That's absolutely hilarious.
Every time I watch it, I just laugh. Say, I was there.
That's good stuff, man. Holy cow. Well, let's see what else. Now,
After
I have a question I was going to ask you. Uh, Having that many civilians underneath you, right? That you're leading civilians and leading your military brethren. Uh, what do you see the big differences are?
I was told there by a retired master sergeant that was my security dude. He's like, "It's like herding cats, man. Get used to it." And that's it because they, they're GS employees or they're wage grade employees. They
Yeah,
work for that is who they work for. They don't work for me. I can't rate them, can't do anything to them. All I can do is
right.
give suggestions. So for me, the hardest thing was learning that portion that I had really zero control.
Uh huh.
I was just a guy, an oversight. And if something went wrong, I could help them, but I couldn't help them not to do something wrong, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. And learning that power curve and that style of leadership, leading through someone else to lead them,
Hmm.
hard for me and my colonel, but my colonel he was much better at it. And he's actually the civilian leader of the depot, or he was at least last year still. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Can you hear my cat?
I see him there. I haven't heard him.
Okay, she's purring pretty loud, so I don't know if you could hear her or not. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's very interesting though. But good experience,
Yeah,
right?
great experience.
Especially you're getting further on into your career, and you're going to get out eventually, right?
Everyone
So
has to.
yeah, why not learn how to work with civilians? So
Yeah.
that's good.
Like I told people, I said that would have been a great job my last 2 years in the army because then you
Yeah,
just slide right into one of those civilian jobs
very
and rock
true.
it out. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So you did that 2 years while you were
three,
there? Three. 3 years.
2005,
Oh wow.
2008.
Okay.
Went
And
to
then where'd you end up going then?
back to Korea.
Oh, okay.
This is my third time in Korea. This time for 2+ years. My family got to go this time.
Oh, nice.
So I was with the Signal Brigade. So I learned another whole skill set there. I used to just think that you turn on the radio, it works by itself. It's awesome. But I learned that there's people that actually make sure it works, and they do a great
Yeah,
job.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
great humans, very smart. Most of them are very smart and very tactically and technically proficient.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much they go to the field, but they have to in order to get that communications going.
Yeah. That makes
Especially over
sense.
there, you get a lot of training time and a lot
Hmm.
of stick time a lot of time at the range too, and a lot of things that were surprising to me with that unit.
Yeah.
Uh, I got to go to a lot of schools while there that I wouldn't have got to if I was in another unit. So it was rather
Cool.
awesome to do those things and
Yeah.
learn.
What
I
were
learned
some
a
of the
lot.
schools that
I,
you got to go to?
I got to go to joint firepower courses, one real good
Oh,
one.
wow.
Yeah. And funny thing in that one, when I was in college, I did ROTC camp, and I
Uh-huh.
was going to try to be an officer. And I met a guy named Charles Reed at that camp at basic training for that. And that was the last time we seen each other. I was like 92 ish. Yeah,
Hmm.
probably 91, 92 ish, or 90 even. And we didn't see each other until 2009 in Korea. And he was lieutenant colonel instructing that course.
No kidding. Wow. What a small world,
Yeah. So I was
man.
like, I know I'm not failing.
I love it. Oh man. Well, now how did your family like it? Like your family got to go over. So how did they like Korea?
Oh, they loved it. They didn't want to come home.
Oh,
They
okay.
became totally ingrained with the culture. They loved being able to just walk out of our base housing, go into the community, go shopping, hang out, go get
Yeah.
coffee, food, whatever, and just embrace the culture and how the culture embraces you while you're there. especially
Yeah,
having a young daughter. They love our kids. They take care of children is a number one priority for them. So that's
nice.
how I do a lot of my bartering in the stores. I'd send my daughter in. I tell her what I wanted and send her in there because she could speak a little bit better than I could.
Yeah.
She'd barter with them. Then I come in with the money and win. Yes. And then we
Very
also
nice.
went to China and Thailand while we were over there as well. So they got to do some traveling.
Yeah.
They did not want to come home in 2010.
Wow. Yeah, that I've heard that on many different individuals that's gone to Korea. They really enjoyed it while they were there. I never got the opportunity to go to Korea, but I wish I would have.
A lot of people that don't have a good time there are the people that don't leave base.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
that's with
That
any
makes sense.
duty station. Any duty station, you can say that if
Yeah,
you hear
true.
someone say they hate a duty station, what did you do outside the fence?
Yeah,
Nothing.
yeah, yeah,
Nothing out there. All right.
yeah. There's something no matter where you are. You just got to go find it. You know,
And that's the hardest
and
part.
it might be things that you don't normally do.
Right.
If you didn't grow up hunting and fishing, you may not like being out in North Carolina,
Right.
but there's a lot of good hunting and fishing there. If you just engross yourself in it, you'll have fun.
Exactly. And that's how they tried to sell me on Fort Riley. So it's an outdoorsman's paradise. I said, I'm not an
Yeah.
outdoorsman.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. So after Korea, now at this point you were sergeant first class.
Yeah, still sergeant I stayed sergeant first class the rest of my career. So
Okay. Now where did you end up going from there?
back to the mothership here at Fort Campbell. Came
Okay.
back. While I was in Korea, I asked to go to Germany. And they said, no, you can't go there because that unit's going to deploy and then your family won't know anybody. So you can't go there. I said, all right. So what are my options? They said, gave me three and I forget the other two, but I said, I'd take Fort Campbell. And my orders on Fort Campbell actually changed as I was flying back. And I wound up
Oh
going to
really?
second brigade, second to 502nd Infantry when I got here. And they were in Afghanistan. The whole brigade, the whole division was gone. And
Wow.
I couldn't go to Germany because they're deploying, but the whole division is gone and they need me here. That means I'm going. So within 60 days, I was in Afghanistan.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Holy
it was
cow.
a big curve.
That's a quick turnaround,
Yes.
especially for the family.
Yeah.
Man. So how did that all did it turn out? I mean, obviously it turned out all right, but how was that for everybody?
It was tough telling them that I'm gone. I'm leaving like immediately. And I
Yeah.
had to do all the train up and all the stuff to become qualified and all that stuff in the rear in order to go. So I was working late and then coming home and trying to do things with the family at home. Thankfully, it was summertime, so my daughter wasn't in school at the time. But
Mhm.
trying to get her integrated, doing like travel soccer and stuff at the same
Oh
time, so she
yeah.
can keep that momentum that she was doing in Korea. And then just leaving, I was gone. I think end of August again. I left. I got to my base September 14th ish of
Yeah.
2010, and
Wow.
started work right then. And as soon as I landed, the rockets came in. So welcome to Afghanistan.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Wow. Man, what a welcome.
yeah, they love you.
They had fireworks for you and everything.
See?
That was nice of them. Man. So what was your experience like in Afghanistan?
It was a wild day, a wild time. I lost my first soldier on this tour.
Mm,
December 31st, 2010. Sergeant Michael Beckerman was taken from us. He was entering a compound, him and a lieutenant, and no one knows who hit the device, but one of them hit the device and killed Sergeant Beckerman, and the lieutenant became a triple amputee.
oh my God.
And so
Yeah.
that was my first soldier I lost. And during the eulogy, my first sergeant and I wrote the eulogy. He
Mhm.
was a much better writer than I was. I just went up there and presented it, and I presented it in a way to get the guys to stay in the fight. And
Mm,
I had to learn a lot about me, my inner side, my inner self when this
yeah.
happened, how to keep my platoon together, how to keep them from becoming CNN headlines, and
Right.
how to get us all home. And I thank Chaplain Sheets, who was our chappie at the time.
Hmm.
He took me under his wing and took the platoon under his wing and helped us a lot. And Dr. Stone was the mental health professional there on the fob.
Yeah.
She took care of all my guys, talked to them individually. Uh,
Hmm.
no strings attached. Just go in there. I'd go with them because she always had candy and sit in her little waiting room, get candy, and wait for them and leave. But I never
Yeah.
got help for myself, so that was that whole year. We came back in April,
Hmm.
and you do the reintegration training,
Right.
that stuff, and then we just go right back to the cycle of Fort Campbell. Now
Mhm.
you're back, you got to get ready to go. And
Yeah.
we start doing that train up and doing all this new training, and still as platoon sergeant. And then I think it was in November of 2011, they called us in and said, "All right, we've been tabbed to be advisors.
Oh, wow.
Send teams of advisors, 12-man teams of advisors over to Afghanistan and embed with the Afghan army, and you'll go right back." So 2012, we went right back.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
But a completely different role.
100%. 100% different.
Wow. Yeah. That advising teams, I don't know, man. I don't know how you guys did that.
It was wild. I'm looking at my plaque right in front of me right now from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about that experience.
All right. So we trained up. I was a Team Beast. It was Alpha Company, 2nd Brigade Support Troop Battalion at the time. Now it's 39th MEB,
Mhm.
BEB. I'm sorry, Brigade Engineer Battalion. But Alpha Company, it was a Captain Krug was the commander of the team, a team leader, and I was the team sergeant. And we had
Okay.
12 amazing Americans with us. And we went over there with knowing that we would be advising basically a unit that kind of mirrored ours, but they had an artillery section to their unit. So they
Oh,
had an
wow.
artillery
Okay.
battery, they had engineer company, a recon company, and then the headquarters with like mortars and such.
Mhm.
So we got over there in Kunar province now, Chowkay at Faba Cop Fortress. And one of our units from 101st was there the same time we were in Kandahar the year before. They were there at this same cop. My old company,
Okay.
actually, the 2nd 327 Bravo company, was in this cop. So it's kind of a full circle moment for me to come back and stay in the same place where my brothers slept in their Bravo company.
Yeah.
And we get there, and once again, in Afghanistan, they welcome you with mortars or sniper fire. And we were in the fishbowl at the time, so 2 high mountains around us, so everything can
Oh,
point down to
geez.
us.
Yeah.
River to our south, so we were kind of boxed in. But we made the best of it. We built it up. I was there probably got there left May, got there June-ish to the cop. June 18th, we went on patrol with our partner force with the recon company, and we went to a Daewoo Valley, which the Daewoo Valley is. If you've seen the movie Lone Survivor, and
Mhm.
they show the map when they're doing a briefing, they point to it, and that's
Mhm.
right where they were. And so this is 5 years after this. After
Oh,
that, and
wow.
we went there, and we were briefed. If you're in there more than 90 minutes, you're going to get ambushed. And of course, what we were in there more than 90 minutes, we were ambushed, and
Yeah.
a pretty good one. They were shooting from everywhere. It was pretty awesome. We fired back as best we could and tried to did him out. We did him out. They went across the mountaintop, basically just followed us back to the cop, and then started raining mortars on the cop. So they
Oh,
did that.
wow.
Patches came. We were able to pick up, I think, 3 civilians and 2 soldiers got wounded at that time. We got them out of there, and we started doing like a little AAR. All right, good job, good job. Let's make sure we do this better next time, and blah blah blah. And my medic is his first time in combat. He's Ace Aren't.
Yeah.
Can I tell you about what happened? He'll step outside. We step outside. He tells me what happened. I slap him on the shoulder, say, "Good job, brother." And the mortar hits right behind us, behind me. Hits a civilian,
Whoa.
a bobcat, hits him in the neck, and then a piece goes through my left leg out the front. And my medic, he was a pretty tan dude, and he turned kind of pale. He's like, "Sergeant, you hit us." I said, "No, I'm not." I looked down and said, "Oh yeah, I am." "Hey, go help him. I got this, and you're not doing well right now." I put my tourniquet on, went inside, and my two lieutenants, Lieutenant Lord and Lieutenant Miller, they took care of me in there, bandaged me up, and I still didn't think it was a bad wound. It was, hard head, NCO.
Yeah.
We're standing there, and we were taking up all the other those who were wounded into the building,
Uh-huh.
making sure my medic is taking care of that dude on the Bobcat, is making sure his neck is open, his airway's open, and the evac birds come in, and I'm standing there, and this Green Beret comes up, Gray medic, Special Force medic comes up, says, "Hey, Sarnt, so what's up? So you know what gangrene is?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Do you want it?" I said, "No." He said, "Get on the bird, idiot." All right. So I got out of there, and I backed, and 32 hours later, I was back on the cop. So I
No
refused.
kidding.
I refused to go to Germany. I said, "I gotta get back to the team. Gotta go." And
So, and now where was it that you got hit, you said?
my left knee
Left knee.
in
Okay.
the back, out the front.
Holy cow. And so you just kind of went to the aid station, wherever it was. They
But
patched you up, and then you went right back out.
they did surgery on me that night. at 550. They did surgery. I woke up and Sergeant Major Kevin Griffin came in. He said, "Hey, you got the $1 million wound." I didn't get shot in the ass, Sergeant Major. He said, "No, but you got free license plates for life, man. You good." So awesome. Great way to look at this.
Oh, geez.
I
Oh,
went
man.
back. I had to wait for they had to send me my weapon so I can get on a bird to go back to the cops. So I had to wait. That's why it took 32 hours.
Yeah.
We got back there and we just went about business for the
Yeah.
next 5-6 months until our tour was up. It was pretty sporty at times. It was a time when a lot of that blue on green stuff was going on. So you had to be on your toes with the unit, the partner force.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I knock on wood, and I don't know, someone was looking out for us. We had 0 incidents in our battalion. So
Wow.
we
That's
got pretty
awesome.
lucky. But Sergeant Major Griffin, we lost him that August. I don't know, Medal of Honor recipient Florent Groberg. I don't know if you heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
He was with him, and Sergeant Major Griffin was one of the men who died in that incident.
Oh,
So
okay.
they were there when I got back my Purple Heart. I talked to him like 2 nights before that incident.
Wow.
Hey, brother, I'll see you next time you come by our cop. All right. And that was the last time I seen him.
Wow. Man. Yeah, that's a rough deployment, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both of them, both of those deployments are pretty kinetic. And the first one, our brigade lost 65 dudes. So
No kidding. Wow. That's tough. And you said earlier, you were saying that you didn't really talk to anybody. You encouraged your soldiers to go do it, made them talk to people, but you yourself didn't actually do that. So how did you, I guess, internalize it all, and how did you cope with it?
I kind of boxed it up and I just
Yeah.
kept going, just keep that adrenaline going, keep going forward. When we
Mm-hmm.
came back in 2011 and did that reintegration, I went to the mental health station and told us, "Look, I need help. I need to get this stuff out of here." And they told me,
Yeah.
"You're a leader. Go back to leading." And that's
No
what I did. I
kidding.
went back to leading. So it wasn't until 2015-ish when I
Yeah.
retired that I finally asked for help again. And then 2016, I found a good doctor to take care of me.
Yeah. And that was after you retired, though.
Yeah, after I retired.
Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep thinking we're moving forward when it comes to mental health in the military and things like that. And then, sometimes it's just seems like we take 10 steps backwards.
Yeah.
It's insane to me. Um, but at least you found somebody, got some help, and I'm assuming that's helped you along the way.
Oh, 100%. That was Dr.
Yeah.
King Counts. I sat with him and I went through everything I've been through from early in my career. I was through other things before combat too that were very
Yeah.
traumatic. I, I talked to him about everything, and I would leave him like sweating in shock there talking to him. I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my, all right." And once I got it all off my chest, I felt so much better, and I was
Yeah.
able to relate to the reasons why my wife and daughter kept saying I was different. I would say, "No, you're different. I'm not different. You're different." And I
Yeah.
would fight back against that, and then I realized it was me. I was the problem the whole time. I was the problem,
Hmm.
and it wasn't my fault I was the problem. It was, well, kind of sort of was. 50-50, I'll say. I was hard-headed enough not to think it was my fault, my
Yeah.
problem, but it was it became all of our problems, spreading my PTSD to them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I was kind of the same way. I didn't for years and years and years. I didn't do anything, and
All right.
the whole time the wife's telling me, "Hey, you need to go talk to somebody." Da, 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 da. So as I was getting close to retirement, she was like, "You definitely need to go talk to somebody." And so I did, thinking, yeah, there's nothing there, and talked to the doc, and they were automatically, as soon as they said it and everything, or I told them, they were like, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, you definitely need to do this. I set you up with some therapy appointments and this and that." And I was like, "Wow, okay, maybe I am, maybe I do have something going on here. I don't know."
Definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely eye opening whenever you kind of realize that about yourself.
Oh, yeah. And when you
Yeah,
realize that you can open your eyes and see that and look in the mirror and say, "Maybe I am in trouble here, and I
yeah,
need help."
yeah. And that's an important thing. You saw it in your soldiers, and you recognize, hey, I need to get these guys help and stuff like that. And it's that whole what we were talking about earlier. You got to take care of yourself as well.
Right.
And trying to figure out and how to do that. It's unfortunate they told you're a leader, go away. I mean, that's just in my opinion, the wrong answer.
100%. Everyone I've told this to, professionally, mentally health, they say, "Oh my God, I can't believe they did that." Well, they did.
Yeah. Well, I would say I'm shocked, but
Yeah.
I'm not really. Uh, it's unfortunate.
I can say that since I've retired, I still work on Fort Campbell as a contractor. I
Okay.
can say that 100% they have done way better now with Joe and Josephine taking care of the whole soldier,
Good.
not just the physical health, but mental health,
Right.
uh, spiritual health, and physical health. It's all combined now, and they take care of them, make sure that they are prepared for almost anything. And you can't be
Yeah.
prepared for everything, but almost everything.
Yeah. They at least have things in place as
Yes,
well.
great systems.
That's the most important part. Have something in place. That way, when something happens, you can actually do something on your end.
Yes.
So, yeah. So, what year was it? You said you retired?
2015, June 30th, 2015.
Okay. And then tell me what did you do after you retired? Like what's been happening?
So from June 30th, 2015 to July 1st of 2016, I was a couch potato, really. I took a year to find myself, not because I
Yeah.
wanted to, but because people weren't biting on my resume, but they weren't doing what I thought they would do. And as I was coming out, I knew that all my peers that retired, oh, they fell right in these GS jobs. But I
Yeah.
didn't factor in that we've been in war for so long that all those GS jobs are filled with people that are young and they're not
Mhm.
leaving.
Yeah.
There's no jobs really. So I was waiting for those jobs to open. They weren't there and no one was biting. And I was kind of just in a rut and
Mhm.
trying to find myself. I was kind of going to those dark places a little bit. And I had got a new dog, Scooter, and he would hang out with me and push me when I was not doing anything. And I started just looking into other ways and other ways of doing things. And I started volunteering at the Red Cross through the Mission Continues. And that
Nice.
kind of got me out of the house more and stopped me from
Mhm.
drinking on the couch with the dogs. And
Yeah.
I linked up with Hire Heroes USA, and
Mm.
they redid my resume so it actually looked like a resume and not looked like I wrote it. It looked like I don't even know who wrote it. Actually, it was amazing. And I got a bite almost immediately with the Department of Homeland Security Emergency Management of Washington, D.C.
Oh, wow.
And I was going through my fellowship with the Mission Continues at the same time. And I drove up there to D.C. I think it was April or May
Mhm.
2016. I drove up there 11 hours from Fort Campbell, from Clarksville, Tennessee, up there. And I go sitting there and I do the interview. And I can tell that the guy really didn't want me. He just was doing the interview because I guess they had to.
Yeah.
I can feel it the whole time. And I left there and I was driving back, and the guy who was my fellowship program coordinator for the Mission Continues called me and said, "Hey, how are you?" So I just left this interview and I don't think I got it. So you don't want that job? So I kind of do. I drove 11 hours and it was my first real bite. He said, "You don't
Yeah.
want the job." I said, "What do I want then?" He said, "I'm going to send you a link. Go on this link and apply." So it was a job with him at the Mission Continues.
Oh, nice.
So I applied and it was, I just applied, didn't think anything of it. And then I went on a retreat with my wife, Operation Odyssey retreat with my wife with Wounded Warrior Project down in Mississippi, and we're doing like all
Mhm.
these like leadership tasks, like rope, zip lining, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I got an email saying you got an interview in St. Louis on Friday of that week. And I wasn't getting back from Mississippi till Thursday night. So it's
Oh,
gonna be tight.
wow.
All right. So I got home, got the suit. My wife ironed the suit, got it all together. I put a pair of shorts on, a t-shirt. I started driving to St. Louis. About halfway, I put the suit pants on. As I got closer, I'm tying the tie. I'm driving. I get there. So, what are you doing here? So, I'm here for my interview. Oh, it was going to be virtual.
Oh, man.
So, what? So, you're here now. So, they took me out to lunch, had pizza with the whole team and me, and did a quick interview. They just asked me like the usual questions. What are you looking for in a price? What are you looking for in a career? Where do you want to be in 5 years? Good, good, good. I left. They called me. So the president wants to give a interview with you. So I did that. I said, "Is this virtual?" I make sure I asked the question.
Yeah.
And I got hired. And I started July 1st, 2016. And a big weight went off my chest. Now I'm no longer a failed transition. I just have a speed bump transition.
Yeah.
And now I'm helping other veterans go through the same thing as a fellowship program coordinator that I just
Mhm.
went through. And I'm kind of relevant. I did that.
Yeah.
So for about 2 years, I was mentoring other veterans. And then my old first sergeant who helped me write that eulogy, he was working in the same firm we're in now. And he asked me if I want to come work for them. I said, heck yeah, because it'd be right here and outside at Fort Campbell. And since then,
Mhm.
I've been working for them. training soldiers.
Very cool, man. I like it.
Yeah.
And then now I see down there it says host. You want to tell me about that down there?
Oh, sure. Yeah. The Misfit Nation. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as you know, we went through this thing called COVID in 2019, 20ish. And in 2020, I graduated from Georgetown with my master's.
Mm-hmm.
So I had about 8 hours a week not allocated to anything. And I said, you know what? 8 hours a week, I could probably do a podcast. Joe Rogan can do one. He's a comedian. How hard
Yeah.
could it be?
Yeah.
So I started asking my soldiers if I can use the name Misfit, because that was the name of our platoon in Afghanistan, the Misfits. So I made it the Misfit Nation. My concept was to have soldiers come on and dudes and dudettes come on, tell their story, get that pressure off their chest, like I did with Dr. Counts, and be able to breathe and stay with us. Because as you know, the number 22 flashes in everyone's head, especially with the Till Valhalla project. You know that more than anyone else.
Yeah.
And it was going great. First 12 episodes, or more, a little more than that, actually. I was getting some veteranpreneurs on there, telling their stories and telling them how they started their businesses. And then they all reached back and say, hey, we need other tools. I said, like what? Need more mental health tools other than medicine. We need how to learn how to start our own business, how to get to Hollywood, how to get into business, how to get in the music business, how to write books. I said, challenge accepted. And I just started getting guests to come on and on and on and on. And now we just recorded episode 530 something the other day, 537, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Man. And how often are the podcasts coming out?
So we do live shows on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central Time.
Okay.
And so the live one stays on YouTube forever, of course. And then most times the audio comes out about 6 weeks later. Sometimes if it's an awesome veteran story, I put it out that night. Just send it right out.
Very cool, man. So you've been doing it a while, man.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing in the podcast
Hope
world.
so. I mean, I still learn stuff every day. I'm sure you do too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still fairly new at it all. I put out a lot of episodes only because I just meet a lot of people and have them record their stories, just like me and you are sitting here. So
awesome.
And doing it virtual makes it way easier. I don't have to go out and have somebody fly in or anything like that. So
or fly to them even.
Yeah. Very true. Wow. Well, shoot, man. Is there anything that we missed that we want to talk about?
Sure. I mean, also during COVID, I put out my first book.
Okay.
It came out just before the podcast. So that was a 13-step guide to success.
Nice.
It's not how to start a business. It's not how to become a millionaire. It's how to be a better human. And 13 steps lined up. And it came from me around Facebook every month during COVID. I'd write something like, you made it through this level of Jumanji. Now, this month you face these demons, because every month they give us these weird fear factor things. And so next month you'll have these fears to go through, and hopefully you make it. And at the end of the year, I just made a list, and my daughter's like, you need to put that in the book. So, all right. So I did it. She edited it and I put it out, and it came out just before the podcast.
Very nice. Nice. Now, where can people find that book?
Amazon. That one's just on Amazon. It's Audible, and softback. And then 2023, September 11th, I came out with Out of the Darkness, a fictional book about a soldier's journey. Basically, it starts off with him on top of the mountain and trying to figure out how he got there. And at the end of the battle, he smells all the smells, sees all the scenes, but how did he get there? And he goes back in time and in his thoughts, and then comes to fast forward to all this stuff that we go through when we come home. And it's based on a lot of people I met, no one individually. So each character is probably 4 dudes or dudettes I met, and put their stories into that one person and try to do them right in a very short book, 150 something pages.
Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah. Man, and what was the name of that one again?
Out of the Darkness.
Out of the Darkness. Okay. Cool. Well, shoot, I'll make sure that I put those on the description and stuff so people can go find it. Awesome. Now, how can people find the podcast?
You can go to our website, themisfitnation.com, all one word, Misfit Nation. And if you go to Misfit Space Nation, you're going to get 3 East Indian dudes that rap. So misfitnation.com, and you'll have us. I do subscribe to them, so just let you know. I found them. I said, this ain't me, but they're pretty funny, so it's good. I got them. If you reach out there, if you want to be on the show there, I think there's a guest intake form there, or there's a contact us. It comes right to my email, and I usually answer within a couple hours. as long as I'm not in a meeting or something. I at least give you a quick answer, say I'll get back with you, or I'll give you a good answer and say, yeah, let's get this thing going and get you on the show.
Yeah, yeah. Very cool, man. Well, shoot, I'm loving it.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad we were able to get this done, knock it out. It worked out for both our schedules. So here, yeah, this has been fantastic.
Yes, sir.
Well, as I draw close to the end of the podcast, I always have these rapid fire questions that I always ask. You want to answer some of those?
Sure.
All right, here we go. What is your proudest military moment?
I think getting selected to be a team sergeant for Team Beast.
Okay, I like it. What is your most embarrassing military moment?
Getting busted in Korea for having a fight. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If you could be one military leader for a day, who would that be?
Colin Powell.
Oh, it's a good answer. Good answer. I like it. If you could change one rule in the military, what would it be?
Well, that's a hard one. I think change business casual to just BDUs every day, or regular duty uniform every day should be just BDUs, no more dress uniforms.
Okay. Yeah. I like that too. It's way easier for sure.
Yes.
What is one lesson or skill you learned that you still use today?
It's all has to do with leadership and I guess social intelligence or emotional intelligence. Learning those things as a leader in the military, especially in the latter half of my career, really helped me out to become the better leader, and I use that today as well.
Very nice. All right. Oh, here we go. In the zombie apocalypse, what would be your weapon of choice, and what anthem would be playing?
Probably I'd stay with old school with the M4 with 203 underneath it, and They Come to Get the Rooster by Alice in Chains playing in the background.
Ooh, okay. All right. I like where you're at with that. That's good. All right. What animal best describes your time in service?
Chimpanzee, I guess.
Okay. Okay. I like it. Oh, man. All right. Which branch of the military has the sexiest uniforms?
It hurts me to say this, but you guys have the best uniform. Hands down. You haven't changed it since your birth.
That's true.
We change every time the wind blows. So.
Yeah. I have to say, though, man, the Army's pinks and greens, they look sharp. I love it, man.
You dress blues, or you can't beat them. So.
Yeah. I mean, dress blues are definitely nice. But I'm just saying that the pinks and greens definitely they went in the right direction with that, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. What branch of the service is the best?
Obviously, the Army.
I figured you would say that. All right, man. Knowing what you know now, would you do it all over again?
100%. Wouldn't change a thing. Very
nice. All right. And I always leave time for words of wisdom or something that you want to leave the listeners with.
Outstanding. It's something I like to share. Every day you have a plan going into the day, and every day something bad is going to happen to you. Something is going to hit that plan. Do not let that knock you out. Don't let that kill you. Stack the victories that happen during the day. Use that one thing as a lesson learned, and each day try to beat that number of victories. So every day you're stacking victories and going to the finish line.
Oh, man, that's good, dude. I'm assuming that's in your book, yeah?
It is not. It's actually not in that book. I started that. Wow. I started saying it after. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess you got another book to write there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Man, that was good. I really like it. Well, hey, man, thanks for coming on and doing this. I truly appreciate it. If you ever need anything on my end, don't hesitate. You got my info. I'm here for you. So I'll do whatever I can.
Awesome.
But yeah, thanks for coming on and doing this. Don't hang up on me. I'm going to do this outro thing. We'll come back on after. But to all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, you need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA has some great resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on that chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life loss is one too many. I care about you. I know this guy here cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you serve with, ask them how they're doing. And if they need that helping hand, please give it to them. All right, man, one last time, thanks for coming on and doing this. To all the listeners out there, stay motivated, change your socks.